Whoever keeps doing these stories and making all these guys victims when they're not is just unreal. These are the spin doctors. The spin doctors are at work, you guys. That's what that is. That's why I was saying, I don't really want to put Justin in that position because I don't think he did that. But yeah, that actually can get a nice target on their back as well. And I don't believe that anybody would be that obvious anyway. Just saying, because it would because that thing right there is so dangerous. It would be. That's what I was saying when I was telling the labor board people when I was saying I go, yeah, we're dealing with some gang criminal activity, like massive, because if you leak my name and these guys are behind it, it's not I don't believe these guys are behind it. There's another group of people. Yeah, there's a whole other thing going on, you guys, that it could get me killed. I mean, that's just the reality of this type of thing. Um, and instead they decided to just leak it out. And so when I confronted government about it, they're like, did somebody tell you that leaks can't happen? Because if they did, somebody lied to you. And I was just like, that should not be going on. And I did the report in a way because I didn't trust them either, but I gave them enough information that they should have found out all the stuff that was going on, right? You couldn't go, let's just say I was like telling on Diddy, right? Let's just say I did that. I didn't, just saying that, because at this point I would tell you. But, yeah, and they'll be out here at my house with SUVs. But if I knew that was going on, I would not want, here's why. I'm going to tell you guys when you guys are reporting this stuff. At least this was my opinion on it when I was doing it. I would not want to go in and go, Diddy did this. Like, I would want to skirt around it enough to where they would go in for something and then they should figure it out. It's almost like they should figure it out because, if you went, something at an after party, like, I went to an after party over here and I don't know, I was in this one room and I don't know, something that kind of tails it off to something else. Or at least where I don't have to say, maybe not even necessarily that he's directly involved in it, but like on their property. Something like that. That's the best way I could say it because I had to keep it where, it's not this thing. Because it can be. And so, and also you don't know what you're stepping into. So that was another thing on this. So if I went to this party, how would I know that this is a massive ring thing going on? I wouldn't, you guys, you wouldn't. You would go in and you're like, I had this one situation happen. And I think that's what's happening with the victims too, is that they went into the situation and they probably had something bad happen and they're thinking, this guy's a bad guy, yada, yada. Not that they would be privy to this like huge ring of things going on because you wouldn't unless all that information is out in front of you. And even if you were in that for a while, you may not view it that way. I just know that that was the same thing that happened in the earlier case with the drug ring. It's like, these certain things are happening, but you're not an investigator and you're not sitting there going, wow, I think this huge thing is a ring. Like, you don't even know what the hell it is. But you know that these people are doing certain things up in here. And then, but if you're like in close relation with them, like close relation, like these two, and Jamie here, has let y'all know all over TV that he was videotaping these parties. And I was like, oh no, this guy ain't even going to be saying nothing. Like, this is not the guy's going to say something. So the only way that he would say something is if the feds came and got him. And so I was thinking about it in that way, not that he went and told on him, but that if the feds came to him and said, They could have done a raid. Here's the thing. They actually could probably get a warrant on him. I'm thinking because he's spewing out, I have all these videos and I taped it all and blah, 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 blah. And then they're doing a raid on Diddy. But I was like, well, couldn't they try to get a warrant to get the raid on Jamie Foxx? I mean, I would think they could, but I guess it would. Maybe they need more on it, like showing participate. I mean, to me, that's showing participate. I mean, you could claim that it's showing participation. I don't know. You'd have to think about that one because I would think that that's how they would go at him. They would not treat him as a victim. Not on any level would they treat Jamie Foxx as a victim in this case. They don't converse like that. You guys never dealt with them. Because even as a victim, they treat you like a perpetrator. The feds? Yes. So that's why I was like, oh, they're calling up Ashton? What morons are these? Yes. They could be, nah, I ain't gonna give them that much credit. They're not that bright. Okay, so we're gonna go down here. Oh, they were making cracks that Diddy poisoned him. I was like, I don't even know what happened to him. I go, we don't know. He could have got scooped up by the feds. That's what I was saying. I go, I don't know if it's just the cover because you would. If you got in trouble and the feds came and got you, yeah, I would put a story out. You know, I think that's what their team did. But I could be wrong, and he did legitimately have a health issue, but it wouldn't be because Diddy poisoned him. I was looking at it going, oh, I could see that they came and got him, man. They took him in. I don't know. It's a mystery. People keep asking me if Diddy was responsible. He was not. If he was, I would have been dead. Well, he was saying he almost died. He was saying he almost died. I don't know. Like, that's the thing. It's just, yeah, I don't know. Unless they're just saying that he would have, you know, sent some goons out after him. Jamie seems kind of like, you know, when you have that abusive parent and then you just act normal around them, but you're scared to death of them. But then again, it's like, why is Jamie all hanging out with them to begin with? Why do you want to be around that? You know, you have to ask a lot of questions with that kind of garbage because it's not like he's stuck in his position where he has to be hanging around with them, you know, but you could tell when he's talking about him, he's like, you know, well, this and that and this and that. So Jamie likes that. I think he admires that type of thing and he wants to be like that, a monster. Then he was saying that his parties were like worse than Diddy's or something. And I was like, how much worse can this get? So when you make comments like that, the feds don't, you know, go, oh God, Jamie, are you a victim? You know, that's not how they're going to go at it. They're going to go, oh, participation, probably worse stuff. So we're going to go look at freaking Jamie Foxx. Because in addition to those comments, I pulled up something, but I was kind of making a crack out of it, but now I'm questioning, like, was I spot on? Like, I don't know, because
also, and in this case, you were the project manager.
Oh, hell no. You are so fired. Donald, don't take that.
Nicole, you're fired.
Real men know how to use the remote.
You're the project manager, you lost. Sorry.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Real men don't buy girls.
Donald Trump is a real man. Are you?
And I go, no, I read it right. Okay, so they did that fake human trafficking ad, right, with Trump. But at the end, I want a real man. That's what it says. And I was like, oh my God, did anybody like actually go through this? Or is it like a hinting joke? And you know, the frat house shit, you know how they think because they're a bunch of like serial killer types. Okay, so like they think it's funny like to mock human trafficking and they're all with men and they put this thing out like that. I'm like, I can't imagine any like person with an average IQ looking at that going, that doesn't come off wrong, like on any level. And then Jamie Foxx is sitting there drinking. Like he's drinking beer and playing with this thing. And then he's telling him to fire the girl. Like it's all weird. Like the whole thing just seems like a mockery, like a purposeful mockery. Like we're a bunch of frat house boys. We're gonna like make fun of all this crap right here and then just throw this thing out. And so it's so odd that I pulled this up and I go, "Oh, did you guys see the ending of this? If you just mute the voiceover and you read the screen," I go, "I think they want men." And sure enough, these people. And I'm like, I don't know. Like you look at it and it's like, I think they're mocking us. They're just being frat house, you know, the gangbanger. They're just being that. Because at no point in time is that whole clip at all serious. Like there's nothing in that clip that would present that we're against any conduct like this. And then they're acting like it doesn't happen to any human. Real men don't fight girls. They had all these people carrying the sign up, and did they have Justin Timberlake? I think so. Wait, I had just pulled up this whole picture thing. I go, I've never even seen this thing. Never even seen this thing at all. It's so crazy. Up until Ashton was defending, I guess he was defending the rapist Danny through his case and the thing with the serial killer, and I was like, you guys, I don't know about this. It's so dark. Like it's like you're trying to tell me that these guys are that dumb. I mean, he's dumb. Like I'm saying, he's dumb, but this here seems very calculated. Like just mocking every level of humanity here. It just it's not good. So it's almost just like they're being like he's punking all of us. I want to know who these guys are from Homeland. Who are the men that contacted Ashton from Homeland? They need to be outed. Who are these men at Homeland calling Ashton's people here? And who's FEI that brought freaking Ashton to a raid? No. We need to out those people because that is absolutely insane. This has been going on though for a while. I've been pulling it up. Like they had the people in the human trafficking ring caught, like these different feds and the sheriffs and the LAPD, and they never got in trouble. Like they said, "Oh, we're gonna turn them into narcs now." And I'm like, oh, so they could protect the ring still. Like, that doesn't make any sense, does it? No. They're criminals. So you're going to put them back there to sit there? You're going to say that they're going to leak information to you now? No. And even if they did, they would all cover it up. They're like, okay, don't do anything. You know, yeah, it's not, this ain't it, you guys. No man should ever be on this topic. None. They're the OG human traffickers of America. And I'm just sitting here going, I'm telling that, like, I'm literally giving him this thing about it. I'm like, yeah, they're running this business. And these people have a connection over there. Then there's this other place. It was like this whole other thing. And I don't even know what I'm dealing with. Like, it's so crazy. It's like, I know that this is going on. I know that these things are going on in these different locations. And, you know, the more you know, you could give more information later. But it was like I had to sit and think about all these different things. There's so much. You're talking years and years and years of conduct. And I was just like, I don't know how much to say or what's relevant to, you know, the entire thing. But, yeah, no. So there was only one instance where there were some people that are related to these people possibly that were at this early portion, but it was so minute. Like it was like this one time little thing, this thing happened. And I was like, the only way that that would be massively relevant, I guess, is if the drug ring was related to those people in some which way, shape, or form. But I would think, here's my thinking about it. I would think that if they were part of that and it went down, and let's just say they suspected me and taken it all down or some bullshit, because I wouldn't even have cared. I'm a victim. I'm not part of their bullshit over there. But wouldn't I have been in massive danger working in downtown with a mix? Like there was literally a mix of all these gangbanger girlfriends, and yeah, come on. There was like a slew of different things going on at my workplaces that you just didn't sit down and go, hey, you know, what gang are you from? You know what I mean? You just knew that some people, maybe their boyfriends, like I was friendly with the boyfriends and stuff, but yeah, they were definitely, but you would think I would have massive problems with them, right? Like, they'd be trying to take me down. They'd be trying to do all kinds of crap. That didn't happen. So I was like, yeah, no, I don't, there was no threats of violence to me from those people. You know, there was nothing that would indicate something like that. Because then they would make it they would make it known. They would definitely make it, just like he's saying. If he did that, he would have been dead. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have been able to even stroll somewhere without something. Like, you would know. The people that were messing with me, though, were the cops. And I'm like, this is bizarre. And then it was like coinciding with their stuff. And I was like, well, the one thing for sure, it's probably all the same cops that were messing with them and being part of this. But these other groups of people and things like that, that's what I could say about it, I guess. They're highly dangerous. No, and it may not be directly or even indirectly directly related to Diddy. I'm just saying there's other people here. There are people that would protect Diddy. I mean, it doesn't mean that Diddy's telling him to. No, there's just a lot of people in this thing, you guys. And I'm just, that's quite, wide. Yes, and they were laughing when I got poisoned. So I did get poisoned, for certain, because they believe it's arsenic, but again, since we can't get the actual they wouldn't allow me to do the testing. There was a whole thing to this. So the poison control believes that the most likely fell in line with arsenic. So we're going to stick with that. It was definitely a foreign substance. It was not a typical, like, say, street drug, GHB or anything like that, or pot. Pot would definitely not do that. There was some things here. So yeah, there was an additional thing that was done, and then they had to continually try to do testing. They cut out a part of my mouth to do, biopsy. I said that. And then, in 2020, when was it? 2012, 13, 14, somewhere around there, they, administered a full heavy metal panel, which was literally a decade after the incident. Can you guys believe this? So they wouldn't give me the proper test for it. So there was no action on my part to stop the test. The only day that I didn't do it right away was the day that I went into the ER, because I was thinking, oh, it must have been some accidental thing. And then I feel fine now. I'm going to leave. Like, it was so odd because you're not thinking, oh, there could be somebody trying to harm you, like, purposely. So that's kind of what happened there. There was a little thing right there, but then I kept going back to the ERs, and I kept going to the ERs for years. Actually, I kept going to the ERs while this officer was around me, and it started getting worse. So I was actually getting more and more sick as this officer was around. And the questioning behind all this stuff, like, they didn't question me properly. I'm going to tell you that, because I don't know what they would need to know. I go, the only thing I know, I'm a victim. I go, this girl is trying to cover it up. Okay, I know that much, and she's the main suspect. They didn't even care about none of that. I go, this girl is the main person to focus on. Now, I don't know why or what or whatever. But you could always sit there and go, oh, maybe it was some sort of other thing that was through another person and through that person. And then you have to go through this whole series of stuff that I cannot do it. And that's something for the feds or, some investigators to deal with. But then, after that, it transfers over to some other shady ass people. And that's what I'm saying. It starts to get really effed up because the second story with the poison, the rat poison on the table, you have Mr. Potential there to do an additional thing. So then you have my mom, which they questioned. My mom is a problem as well. And okay, this is where now it starts to get muddied. And this is not good that this is getting all muddied up with all these criminal people. And then as it moves, the story moves, there's an officer hanging out with me. And then there's another officer that has me move in with them, right? The LAPD has me move in with them. And then they purposely did a criminal act on me. So you have those people. And then you have these other people that did drug me to knock me out. And then, yes, that's what I'm saying. I go, there's multiple terrible humans in this story and I didn't do anything. It's just they're all piles of shit and they're trying to harm me. So I'm just like, oh my God. So I have to give them information, but they didn't ask me like, was the officer feeding you? They asked me if my mom was feeding me. They didn't ask me if the officer was feeding me. Yes, the officer was bringing me food. And at that point, I ended up getting something that felt like vertigo at that point. I didn't have no vertigo shit before that. So all of a sudden I started feeling very vertigo-y and sick. I mean, so sick. I had to go rush into Kaiser. And so Kaiser has these records and nobody cares. And all they kept doing is trying to throw me these blue pills. And I'm like, they don't work. I don't know what the hell that's for, but that shit don't work for whatever is going on with me. So they go like this. They're like, because you don't have medical insurance, we would normally do a CAT scan, but since you don't, we're not doing shit. So here, take the pills. I go, no, we don't even know what it is. They just kept throwing it off saying it's just that. And I go, I don't think so, man. This thing is effed. Oh, it was so awful, you guys. It was so scary. That was causing me panic attacks big time. Because I was getting so ill. I couldn't walk right. All these like weird ass things. And then I was like, they're like, how did you drive here? I go, I just fucking drove. This is serious. And then they let me leave like that. Why are they asking me like that? And then they let me leave like that. And so then I got dumped in this girl's place and nobody came to help me. And it was like, you couldn't walk to a store really because it's just in this weird location. And then there's this huge like horse stable. It's all crazy over there. And then out of nowhere, the fucking cops and everybody come and bomb me to get the neighbor. And I'm like, this is insanity. This is absolute insanity. I was just like, you can't get anybody to stop. Then government comes to me and starts making threats to me. Oh, so no, they're all a part of it, you guys. It's the government. It was LA County, deep inside LA County. And big government over here. The cops, everybody. And the cops were the ones that were with me. And I go, I'm ill, so why is the cop not helping me out? Like, that's another thing to it, right? Because I'm like totally ill. The cop's not assisting that I need to get treatment, like something, right? There was so much. And then he knew about the Alice thing. They knew about everything. I was sitting here going, oh, what game is this shit they're going to play right now? And I kept showing the mug online. I go, look, they gave me a mug. Like, it's not fake, like these conversations either, because they had got talked to by the internal. So then internal goes, oh, we talked to him, he's totally fine. I go, did anybody ask about the food thing? Because that is an addition, and it's funny that the doctors only asked about my mother giving me food. And so after my mom's thing, then the officer was giving me food, and then I got really more sick. But I can't tell you when, what, or how that happened. So you would have to look at all those things. He may have nothing to do with that portion. But that's the facts. We believe it came through a different source. And that source of items was with me when the paramedics and them came. When the paramedics and them came, they decided to abuse me on scene and left the evidence. I told them, I go, this is everything that came even close to me tonight. There was a couple items, and I set it right on the coffee table, and I was feeling that I was getting hypothermia. And then they started abusing me and said, we're just going to leave you here if you don't leave that goddamn blanket down there. We're just going to leave you right here. They were doing this. And I go, oh my God, what the hell? We know you were partying it up, drinking, and I did not have a damn drink that night. That is absolutely insane. They were totally verbally abusing the shit out of me on scene. I'm totally traumatized. That's why I got panic attacks, you guys, because it's like when you're feeling like you're about to die and somebody's not helping you, and they started attacking me, and it was the most frightening feeling that you could ever go through, because you're asking for help and they're sitting there going, verbally abusing the crap out of you. We're gonna leave you, like, let you die here alone, and this, and it's like, oh my God, what is this crap? They're supposed to be there to help you. And then the cops come in making jokes, and I go, all these people in this story are a pile of shit, and they're guilty as fuck, in my opinion. Everybody's a suspect. Everybody's a suspect. And you have to look at it like that, because what the hell is that about? Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that Jamie Foxx and all them would know, like, everybody would be of concern. And I do not believe on any freaking level that Jamie Foxx even would give a shit about that type of conduct, to be honest with y'all. I think it's funny that people are trying to paint him out that he would. He's literally telling you that he loved to party. He did all these horrible things, really, technically. And why would he? Why? Can you tell me? He wouldn't have been hanging out with Diddy that whole time unless he liked that little G-banger shit and being a monster. That's the truth of him. Just because he makes jokes and everybody thinks he's the sweetest thing. He's just another manipulator up in this house, basically. The people that I see that would tell on them are these randomers, right? Like, you go to the party, they bring you in, and then all of a sudden you got, like the guy, the fitness guy. Oh, yeah. Because he's not with them. He ain't on their little fucking G-bang and shit over there. So he gets invited over, and they do that crap to him. So he's the most likely to go tell an authority. And he don't know, half the stuff that's going on up in here anyway. So, no, he'd be like those type of people. They're more than likely the ones that would do that. Justin, on the other hand, probably wouldn't. Because I think they partook in stuff. That's my opinion of it. Because they partook in stuff. So, because they partook in stuff, people are really hesitant in telling, because then they're like, oh, they're going to find out that I did this, though. And then he also may be extraordinarily afraid of Diddy. I would think he would be, just the way he was acting. It's like, why go back? Why go back? I don't know. Oh, they didn't like my Milli Vanilli comment on him. Oh, I was like, I was like, Diddy's a little Milli Vanilli, you guys. I don't think he's ever ran his business a day in his life. There's something weird about that. Oh yeah, Clive Davis. Like I didn't know much about him. It was so weird. It just popped up, and I guess maybe people were looking at Milli Vanilli's story because in the story there, Clive Davis knew they were total frauds, and he's like, oh, who cares? It's just about money, right? Money. Okay, yeah. And there's some additions to this stuff to where a lot of people in here are frauds. Okay. That's why you should be offended when someone's sitting there up in here trying to act like they're really talented and shit when they're not. And it's offensive to me because they didn't do the job that I did. So no, they have people that they hire to do that. It was really listening to Diddy talk on that was like painful. I was like, oh, I could literally run your business for you. You don't know how to do that? How are you up in here for decades? I'm just a little curious. Yeah, there's something fake. But when I was looking at the formulation to him as to why he's even famous, he's just famous for running off other famous people. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that doesn't take a brainiac. If you hire the right people and do it properly, then there you go. But you didn't invent the wheel. It's not like he wrote a hit song on his own and then did this thing. That's why I said it was so offensive for anybody to even say that to me. Go find all the hit songwriters out here and they will literally go on this thing about it. And how all the artists go to them. Like, that's a talent. Like, there's a certain thing about that. And I go, these people are such frauds that it's like, don't sit there and start coming at me about your talent. You're so much better and blah, blah, blah. One thing that you do have over me is a lack of empathy for others. I'm like, a lack of empathy for others. And it takes money. So money and a lack of empathy and just run on over everybody and be a fake. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to be that puppet. But there's a lot to this game. It's a lot about hiring everybody to do everything that you can't. And in fact, to sing for you when you can't. And why not? Let's go do a show. You can't sing anymore? Shit. We'll just put a real tape on, backtrack. Okay, no, who cares? It's money. That is their mentality, you guys. Clive Davis, yeah, that's why he would sit there and go, nobody needs to know. That literally is their brain up in here. And I was like, it's so annoying. They're just like, yeah, if they find out. But that's all right, Yes. They're awful. They're awful. I was like, I couldn't do that, man. That's, I feel bad. I do. I feel bad for the Milli Vanilli story. But actually, I think that whole thing was like that was actually like a little snippet of what is going on up in here. That everybody being fake. That it's just like, oh, just these ones got caught. Okay, so let's not make a big deal out of it. But the rest of these people are totally fakes. Talent is at the bottom. Like, they don't even care about that. To be honest, no. They're looking at a product. That product could be a pile of shit. They're like, we know that the market will buy it. So we'll put this jalopy together and throw it out there. And it's like, it works. And somehow they think they're somehow more talented than the rest. I'm like, no. Actually, what's happening is you got a lot of talented people that you don't even know who they are coming together and propping up this one person. And it's like, okay, this is annoying. It's annoying because that's not how, I don't know. There's just too much credit going to people where it shouldn't. Let's just put it that way. And I'm aware of this because I had to deal with that. So it's like I have to hire people. So it would be so arrogant if I'm running around going, it's all me. It's all me, you guys. I mean, it's all me doing the work and stuff. But I mean, if you pull up the one song that I dealt with these other people for me to go, it's all me. I mean, how insane is that? Like, I didn't digitally put it together, So, like, they're a huge component. But without them, I couldn't do it, but with them, they wouldn't have came up with it without me, because it's like my ideas given to them and then they put their thing to it, right? Yeah, so it's a team effort thing. But no, I could swear to you, Diddy's somewhat of a fraud. What level it may just be. I can't tell you everything. I was listening to it, going, "What's fake on this thing?" We know that. He sounds like he's never ran a business ever in his life. To be honest with you, honestly. And I was like, huh? Somebody else caught it too, and I was like, yeah, isn't that weird? I was reading this thing, and I was like, he sounds like when you know when you start up a business, like you start to learn on these things to start up a business, and he's like he didn't know how to do it. I was like, what did they just maybe the whole time they just other people always are doing it for him. I don't know, but it sounded like the dumbest thing I've heard. And I was like, well, something's fake up in here. To what level? I mean, it sounds like him on the tracks. Like I listened to that, but I was looking at the formula. I go, oh yeah, they're just taking other people's hits and then just doing this thing with it. So I was like, okay, yeah. So that would be, you have a higher chance of having a hit with a hit song that's already written. That's not from you. Yeah. So then, yeah, I don't know. I can't tell you guys, but something ain't right over there. I was like, when they're producing, like, I would need to sit in a room to see what's going on here, because I am just like, I mean, maybe he has the chance to just sit there and go, you know what, that sounds like shit. Why don't you do it like this and like that and like this? So that's about it. I don't know. I can't tell you, but something's fraudulently a little Milli Vanilli up in here. Yeah, something. Has anybody actually seen his mouth move? I was like, I don't know. It'd be funny. The whole time it's just like a track. Like every time he goes up, even live, it's just track going. And then he goes back and he's like, yeah, you know, it's true. That's him. Like, really? Oh my God. No, I think that's his voice, but there's just some more questions. Yeah, they're a bunch of G-bangers. Do you see them? They keep going. That guy, this other guy the other day, he got arrested for trying to hire a hit. These guys are a hot mess. Like, the messages up in here really should be like, Jumpy, this piece of shit punk. But they enable that crap. They enable it on themselves. They enable it on other kids. They enable it on their own kids. And it's like, I would think when you're coming up into this industry that you would be like, you could talk about your bad childhood and shit, but Jesus Christ, this should be something that you're trying to work to get away from. Not use it as your platform to gangbang all over the fucking place, which is what they're doing. And why are they mad at it? I mean, why get mad at it if they're coming at your daughter? I mean, shit, you kind of enable that. I was like, there's just a day that you're not going to be here and somebody's going to do something because you guys all partake in that conduct. I mean, that's really the truth of it. But again, when I was a teen, when I ran across some of these guys, luckily nothing happened, but they were into little kids and shit and wanted to human traffic them out and stuff. So they were never against that. That's why I was like, please stop lying. But there was a bunch of them that were trying to get out of it because they couldn't get out of it. It was really hard to get out of it because, it's in your hood, right? You have to go out into the public and they're there. So it's kind of a hard universe to like separate from. And they had these places where they were able to stay at that were supposed to be safe for them. And then they were trying to help them like remove all the tattooing on their body so they could start a new life and just totally separate from this universe right here. And it was very hard for them because a lot of them, they got involved in drugs and other things like that. And, have a lot of trauma and all these other things. And so I thought, wow, this is a really good thing. I hope this type of programming takes off. I mean, we're talking in the early 90s when, this thing was going on. And so I was really impressed by, seeing that it could work, and, these type of things doing that. Unfortunately, have you heard these guys out here promoting any of that? I have not. They love their brotherhood. But technically, I would say maybe in that program, they were kind of still with that brotherhood shit. But it was kind of like this door of like, oh, there's hope for this. It's going to be hard. It could be very dangerous because they never want you to ever leave and you know too much, all this stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're doing today on that front with things, but it really should be a thing to try to fix and not aspire to be, which is what they're kind of glamorizing to want to be all that and a bag of chips. And I'm like, that's not what should be going on here. It's like coming from a place where it's effed up. And it's like, you should be actually trying to get people out of that. So you don't even have to live in that type of thing. Now, there's some people that want to argue that they needed those things to protect themselves in the areas because the cops are bad. But that's not what was going on here. Like, that's not what was going on here at all. So, and the reality is they never liked women that much. So I don't know. I was like, we were talking about that too. I was like, yeah, the whole front is that they love men so much they don't even want women in the room. So for Diddy to be all over other men, it's almost like, it's almost like a duh. It's like, we should have figured this out long ago. They hate women, they drag them around, and they really love men. They really love men. Male supremacists really love themselves. I mean, it's as we're making cracks of it, I go, yeah, I think that's probably the deep down truth. That's just like a cover up for their own, like they don't want to come out because they think it makes them look weak or something. So they won't say that they're actually into men, but they're hardcore into men. Because if you want to spend all your time with men, I think you might need to come out of the closet about something there. So, even really about that, it's like, serial killer mind. Serial killer mind is like, I'm going to perpetrate on a ton of people and harm them. So it's not, oh, I'm gay and I like gay men. It's not that. While it's part of what's going on in here, the mentality that he has is that I need to be the most powerful. And, okay, he tried to say, this is what he said his goal was. This is so weird. He has this, I guess he like looks up to some African king. And I'm like, who's this damn African king? He's probably a terrible monster too. And they just didn't put it in the history books. I was like, I don't know. Anyway, he wants to be this African king that had the most money in the world. Like that Baba Guru guy. It started sounding like that. And I was like, oh God, here we go. So that guy totally molested all these boys. Like, it's the same thing. It's the same story. Like, yeah, ad nauseum. It's like the same story that keeps happening all across the globe. There's this one guy, and he presents himself as this great guru and of help, and he helps everybody. And then really what's happening is he just wants to control everything, and he has a total mafia going on, and he's killing people, he's raping kids, he's doing all these things. And this king guy that he brings up, and listening to him talk, he's like, this doesn't even make sense. He's like, I'm not trying to be the most richest man on the world, but I want to be the one that gives the most money back. And I was just sitting there like, why is that a goal? Like, think about it. It doesn't even, it's weird. You would have to have a purpose. Like you just want to give the most money back to everyone. like I could break it down to you. Like I was so like I want to help people, so I have a goal, right? Like I want to lift people out of poverty. I don't even want this system that even allows that to happen. Okay, so I could say that. But he was saying something about he admires this one African, like I don't know, some dude, and that he wants to give the most money back to everybody. Which nobody's stopping him from giving money to people. He could give it all away. And that would be totally Jesus worthy. And that would be him going by that doctrine that he is brainwashed into. So he could sit there and give it all away. And then he would look maybe like even a better person. I mean, somebody would say you're stupid for doing it. But I mean, if that was really your goal, then do it. Like no one's stopping him from doing it. Is he actually doing that? No. He's kind of doing, I mean, what he's doing, it kind of comes off as like manipulation, right? Because it's like, I'm going to go give you something. Oh, think of Israel Keys. He's a serial killer. So think of him for a second. He does something pre-doing something. So he's like, I'm going to go plot this thing before I come back. So he goes and he puts a kill kit somewhere in a location, and then he comes back to get it, right? To go harm other people. So if you think of these guys' brains just like that, so what he's doing is like if he goes and he does something nice for you right now, he's gonna come back. Now he has you on a thing like, I feel like you owe me. Because look, remember I did something really nice to you, Rosie? Rosie, remember I tried to get you all up in the house. So like something like that, right? I'm going to go buy this for you now. I'm going to come back later and I'm going to use you as a tool if I need to. It's more that thing than it is because he's such a giving, nice guy. But it's so weird that that's what he's saying his goal is in life. And I'm still stewing on it. I don't know what it is about the story, because maybe I need to know the story of the king that he's wanting to mimic, where it's probably more about the power and control of the king than it is, oh, I just want to give all this money out. I don't know. It's something weird, but that's what he was saying. You can start to understand his brain if you're listening to how he's operating and what he's looking at and how he's identifying himself as or what he wants to be. Well, he's literally being open and saying that's what who he admires and wants to be like. Does that guy have any rape allegations? Like he probably does. There's literally no one in history that didn't go off and rape a bunch of little boys and girls. Like literally none of these people. So when you start going into that thing, I was like, I don't care what country it's from. Trust they raped a bunch of people. And they harmed a bunch of people. And that universe there, they created like a mafia. Like they did. And it comes across like they're these saintly people that just do all good. They don't harm anyone. And, you know, they want to control it. Like, that's the thing about that whole thing. Like, they want to control it. But he's not very bright, you guys. This is the annoying factor to this whole thing. Because it's not like it's this, like, 140 IQ guy. It's like this guy that sounds like he dropped out of high school. Even though he did go to college and stuff. But he just sounds, the way he sounds. Like, when I'm listening to him, I would automatically judge him dumber than myself. Just automatically. Just because, I don't know, you guys didn't hear that one thing. And somebody else was questioning it. And I go, yeah, it's so weird. I go, I don't understand this at all. It's the strangest thing. And it may just be because he's a manipulator. And that may be what's going on here. So, he's manipulating you to think that he's smarter than he is. But I'm telling you he's not. And I don't think that I'm the smartest person in the room either. But there's a lot of dumb people out here, so I have to call them out. But I was saying, I go, yeah, like Kevin's a higher IQ. I could still see that he's stupid. But but I could tell when he's talking, he's not talking like Diddy. Diddy sounds like a total idiot, like just like Ashton Kutcher. And I was like, yeah, what is this about? And they all went to school, but they're not very bright. I was like, they're not very bright, you guys. So don't be duped into that thing. If you hear somebody going, oh, I went to college, I graduated, had all this and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't tell you everything. It doesn't tell you everything about that person. But I'm catching it. It's just, you're just sitting here trying to stew on like what's going on here because you just know he's a manipulator. So I know that much. They're all manipulators up in here. It's almost to the point where you're like, how do you even get dressed in the morning, dude? And then Ashton's talking like he's doing a presidential speech, and it just sounds ridiculous. But he's trying to sound smart. Like, he tried really hard, and it's probably because he's trying to put on a show for the, government over here, but it just sounds so ridiculous. It's like, I love America. America is a country for me because I'm a white boy and I got my privileges without even fighting for it. It's like this thing, and I'm like, shut up. Like, it's so gross. What's so gross about it is that the white man enslaved everybody, so he's the human trafficker. And he's up here like, I have this dream of being the hero, stopping the cotton field thing like Abraham Lincoln. I'm just like, this is so disgusting. I don't know. There's this level of like, get the hell off this floor, from talking. Don't talk anymore. You're the guilty parties. Who should be up there is the victims who had it happen, speaking on what we need to do with these men, not men dictating yet again what they should do to us. Like, it's just the most evil thing ever. But the public school system did this to us. They promoted these guys to act this way, because there was no stopping it. They didn't say, Ashton, you need to F off, okay? Your ego is out of control. All these things. And they somehow pump up each other's ego. Like they're supposed to have these mega monster egos or something. I'm like, no, that's a personality disorder. And you need to take them out of here. And so they don't like it when women call it out. Because women are supposed to sit there and go, oh, that's the greatest thing ever. I was like, oh, no. No. He needs to get the hell off the floor. He needs to get off the floor and shut up. It's just the worst thing to bring up. Oh, I love this country, America. Oh, by the way, human trafficking is really bad. That's what I'm saying. I go, the level of their IQ is, again, you got to know the history, and they wanted to keep us all dumb. So, but he knows the history. How is Ashton looking at the history? He's like, that's not human trafficking. That's love. He tried to separate human trafficking from labor trafficking. He's like, that's a whole set of different, what was it? Legislation, something weird. And I'm like, no, it's together. It's basically the same thing. It's a job, and you're trafficking people doing a job, that thing. So it would definitely be together in some way. He's like, but labor trafficking has to do with people behind the thing. Something weird. And I'm like, I've had enough. I was like, what the hell are you going on about? Because I guess his mentality is probably thinking of sweat houses, like the workers, like doing like, fashion, right? Like they'd be in some, warehouse in the middle of India, like for working for free all day. And then they're making these products, and then, American companies go and buy the products, and then they sell it out, right? And they make all this money off of it. And then you got all this slave labor over there. I think he's only thinking in that sense. Whereas in the human trafficking ring, it was actually a legal job, and they were actually labor trafficking from out of the country and other humans legally to do that job, and then transferring girls around. And I go, oh, yeah, well, that's labor trafficking. So I don't know what the hell you're going on. That's actually the human they're trafficking around. And they also traffic those laborers around. So I don't know. I don't know. He was talking about it in a weird way. And I was kind of like, is it me? Because maybe I'm like, am I taking what he's saying it wrong? Because I know damn well those things were together. So I don't know. He said, it's a different set of legislation. I go, I don't see why it would be. It's still human trafficking. It doesn't matter if it's sex, labor, and not everything revolves around the sale of something. And that's something else people are not talking about. So I don't need to do something for the sale of something for it to be human trafficking. Because you could human traffic them, it's just to be your personal hired help if they're not consenting to it. Luckily, and I was like, there's some situations here where people do consent to do that. They just do. They're totally love doing it, and this is just ridiculous. But if you get in cross that line, as with anything, where the consent is not there, then it becomes a problem. And that's when it becomes criminal, right? So that's with anything, though. So no consent is criminal. No consent, it's criminal. It's a pretty simple thing right there. Pretty simple thing right there. Coercion is no consent. Those things. So anything that falls in line with that, criminal. I mean, I don't know of any thing that would have nuances to that other than government trying to go, well, the reason why we rape these prisoners is because we got to make sure they don't got drugs up in them. And it's like, yeah, but regardless of what you're saying, no matter what you're doing, you're still raping them. Just saying, but you want to make a justification for that. But just because you want to make a justification for it, it's still rape. Just saying. It doesn't change the action of what they're doing. It's still rape, right? So when they're talking about that stuff. So I was like, well, you can't be for it in this case and then come out here and be like, I'm not for it for this. Also, and last that I wanted to throw out here was that Kim K is such a fake and now the media is trying to do their spin doctors on Taylor Swift. That she's a fake and called him nice too. Okay. Well, y'all be a hot mess because the Menendez brothers' father was a rapist and he touched a bunch of people. As they came out, Menudo came out in 1990, actually at the same time I got raped all over the place, okay? They came out onto television to say, these people did all these things to me. What did this public do? What did the public do, right? We don't believe them. We're not listening to them. So therefore, yada, 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 right? So they protected the predators, right? So the predators were continually harming the brothers. And then they had to kill, or they felt like they needed to kill them. Okay. This was that. So what are these people doing that are causing that situation to happen to begin with? Oh, the guilty parties that are fake presenting and saying they're on the side of the Menendez brothers. They're actually not. They were on the side of getting them harmed. Classroom. So, stop being a fake. Stop saying that people are liars. Stop doing this garbage. You need to take it all serious from the very beginning. That's why. So, if Kim K's parents were best friends with the daddy, they would have protected that shit all over the place. That dad, we need to be loyal. We need to be loyal and totally protect this rich guy because he's helping feed me all day long and throw me in the media and make me famous. That's what we're talking about. Did y'all not do this on all these people that people are coming out here saying that they're sexually abusing them? They did. So I was like, they're fake. They're all fake. Taylor Swift did. Well, I can't blame Taylor Swift for sitting there saying that Diddy's a nice guy because nobody even knew that he didn't have an allegation. If he had an allegation And Taylor comes out going, I don't believe it. We're going to drag her by the hair, girl. That thing. But she is being tone deaf, mostly on the thing of Kamala and some other issues on women and everything else. She's being tone deaf. I don't know what other evil she's done. But her coming out going, this guy is nice. Oh, she did it to another guy, though. I go, is bullshit. Because they're all acting nice. And they're evil as shit. So that doesn't mean anything. And it doesn't mean the guy's a good guy either. At all. Or girl being a good person. Just because she's acting nice. So those things, just because she want to be playing the I'm the innocent nice girl bit, I ain't buying all that either. Because who the hell's that? That's a fake person. That's not a real person. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't sit there and go, oh, because she said 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Like some like weird thing. He was really nice. That's what I said. I go, Marilyn Manson was really nice. The problem would be if I turned around and said, all these girls are lying because Marilyn was nice to me. But it would also make me like a problem because when we were talking, he was being a little perverted and he was saying he's a pervert. So he's kind of leading me in that, you know, he may have other intentions going on. I was like, because, you know, like there's this thing going. And I said it wasn't me that the security was pulling away from him. It was the vice versa that his security had to go, Marilyn, you got fucking people here for you in a line. Yeah, so they pulled him away from me. And he was with Dita, I guess. I didn't even see her there. She may not have been there, but yeah, I guess they just started, yeah. So when I was thinking about all that stuff, it was just in this little tiny thing. I was like, oh, totally, I could see it, yeah. But he was totally nice. I didn't view the situation as bad, per se. I didn't. It was funny at the time, to me, but it wouldn't be if he did all that. Had a flag. I would say it probably was a flag, and it was a minimal flag. Yeah, I mean, it probably was a flag. I mean, to be honest, it probably was a flag, and I just was like, oh, you know this thing about it. Yeah, I mean, I'm just being honest about it. It wasn't, oh my God, he was this terrible, horrible monster. I go, oh no, that's a really good calculated way to like come in and move in on your prey. Yeah, but it was so what you would expect from him too. So I'm normalizing certain things right there. That's me. I was just actually really talking about that. I go, and there's no way in hell that I would go make a channel that's for the sole purpose to go target victims. I mean, these women that are doing this, really, I don't think it should be allowed, but it's on this line of like, okay, you have the right for your opinion, but it's just an all-out target victims fest, women. And people are making stuff up left and right. I was listening to it and I go, I can't even believe you guys are even allowed to do this. And then they're allowed to collect money to do it. And I go, wait, how come I can talk about the topic like in the most, down-to-earth fashion ever, and they won't pay me or let me use, a thing to get money to do that? Yet these girls that are targeting all the victims had like a PayPal thing and everything, and people are giving money. And I go, oh, you're going to create that to make their lives a living hell when they're literally telling the truth. Because he's having to settle. And then there's, there's like so much stuff in it that it's just like, a lot of the legal problems with stuff. And, they were trying to manipulate, the girl, the one that dropped the case. I go, no, we could tell you everything about that girl being like that. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's not what they want it to be, which is bad. But they harm themselves by doing that stuff because they set it up for themselves. So if it happens to them, then the public's going to treat them like crap. And it's like, no, and then she has mental health issues and on drugs. And I go, yeah, so there's a couple of things in that. So mostly when there's other problematic victims, like, it just happens. It happens. They get scared. They get payoffs. They get, a number of things. So I was like, cause you see that it doesn't, she's flipping out. Like she was already losing her shit. Like at this one point in this thing. But they try to do that to weaponize, and it's really gross that you're watching women do it. And it's like, oh, you're a great help for yourself. So when your daughters have this happen to them, that you want all these women coming after your kids. Yeah, they don't give a shit. They really don't. I'm watching them right now. They're bringing their kids around perpetrators. I'm like, yeah, they honestly don't give a shit. They're like, I don't even see a problem with this guy whipping his dick out in front of my daughter. It's like, well, you go do that, but eventually you guys are going to get busted. And, but there's nothing, I mean, you could call CPS on them, I guess, if you see it. Why are they getting away with that is beyond me. I mean, people are asking those questions. I go, because they're all organized crime, dude. Because there's no way in hell anybody else could get away with doing kind of that stuff, right? Mostly not in a mass group of people. I'm just sitting here like, I can't, the same people that fake present like they're for, like I said, they say they're for men, but the thing is that when they mean they're for men, they're for rapists, not for them being as victims. If they were for them being as victims, they would be for women being victims. Like they wouldn't cut it off and say, oh no, it didn't happen to you, but only these guys. You couldn't do that because it's the same conduct. So the same conduct they're doing to men. It's the same things, right? Oh, come to my hotel. I go, the psychology to this stuff is insane because I kind of wish I did the psychology thing versus the philosophy. I'm like, did I get this confused? Did I think philosophy was psychology? No, it's weird because it's like when you're saying this stuff, it's like it's not comprehending. Like if they're doing that to me, they're doing that to men. The same conduct. So you can't minimize, oh, they're groping me, and then, say that you're for men because then they're groping them, and then you're going to degrade them when they come out. And that's exactly what you're seeing. Because they're for it no matter what. So then when the males step forward, they're like, that's not a big deal. These guys just want money and fame. They say the same exact thing. It's so weird. I was expecting, I think initially I was expecting them to be even more, they are more, okay, on the level of this, but it's not by much. It's not by much. On the level of when a woman steps up, they're just like, oh, it should happen to them. Totally. Oh, it's happening to little boys. Maybe we should be a little outraged about this. But even in that subgroup of people, there's still like a mass majority that says that they deserve it. They're lying, all this stuff. They say all the same bullshit that they say about women. So I was like, okay, yeah. But I said, look at the Tyson thing. I go, when you see that, it actually gives you most of the answers about how people are going to respond and why it's going on for so long. You can't sit there and say, oh, we're going to ignore the Menendez dad because I just don't believe those two guys. That's what they did. So that's exactly what was going on here, is that nobody listened to Menudo. I'm like, nobody listened to Menudo. It was crazy. That case is so weird to me. And I was like, oh, look at the person that's not talking at all. Oh, then they get allegations. Okay, keep this in mind. There's a lot of powerful lawyers out here. And one of them in particular that was really well known, that was a horrible monster, was part of a lot of their cases, I guess. Bully victims into silence and pay them off, or do some sort of thing where it's not even in the public. And there's a lot of things in the background that you guys don't all know, and things I don't know either, but I could tell you right now there's been a numerous things going on that I'll run across, because like pre-lawsuit, people will start saying stuff. And then when they settle, things will sometimes just go away. And there's a lot of that going on. And I'm like, yep, Do I think this is right? No, because I think it's a danger to the public. Because if somebody is continually raping people and doing these things, it puts us all at risk and we don't even have a clue about it. It's like knowing that there's this rabid pit bull that keeps killing people and they just like let it run loose and they're like, you know. And then you go down a street and the damn thing goes and, you know, attacks the shit out of you. Isn't somebody responsible for this? You know, it's kind of this thing. And I'm like, yeah, so this is going on. So there's a lot of people that have tons of actions like this, and they're not seeing it as being a danger to other people. And they're able to hide behind these lawsuit things and then keep it out of a court. But that's not changing their behaviors. And they're just going to keep paying them off. And I'm like, no, man, that thing is... And then you get organized crime up in here. There's like a whole thing to that. But yeah,